Hi, it's Kent here. We're just going to answer another question that we commonly get asked in the clinic about what makes a good shoe and how to choose a good shoe. So there's a few basic features that we work through regardless of what shoe type you're wearing to select if it's a good shoe and will be appropriate for your foot. So the first thing, we'll use a running shoe as an example. So I've got a nice Brooks shoe here. The first thing we look at is when we bend it end to end, where does the shoe bend? So your foot only bends at the toes, so the shoe should support this and only bend at the toes. If we try and bend it halfway down, it doesn't bend, but it bends really nicely through the toes section. The second thing we look for in the clinic is, does the shoe twist? And it should be really quite resistant to twisting. This helps to support and stabilize the foot and doesn't let the foot function excessively in twisting. The third thing we look for is the heel counter. Now the heel counter is this section around that actually cups the heel. And what we look for in that, it should be high, fully enclosed, high and firm. And what this aims to do is grip the heel and stop it from pronating or supinating. This adds more support to the foot through the shoe. The fourth thing we look at is the toe box area. So that's this section around through here. So this should be deep and roomy enough to fit your toes in without clawing or touching the top, and long enough so it doesn't touch the ends. On the fitting of the shoe, the length of the toe box should be a thumb width longer than your longest toe. Now the longest toe will usually be your first or second toe, so remember we should have a thumb width longer than the longest toe. Now if you're used to having your shoes too small, this will feel very roomy and it'll take about a week or two to get used to this, but then a thumb width longer will be start to feel more natural and more comfortable again. The main reason we do this is so we don't actually scrunch the toes up in the shoe or have the toes butt end to the end of the shoe. This can cause nail problems and lesser toe deformities. The next thing we look for is, how do we fasten the shoe to the foot? So it's very important that we have laces, a buckle, a strap, or some sort of elastic to grip the foot into the shoe. The reason this is, if we don't have something to tighten the shoe to the foot, it means we have to jam the shoe in, like for example in a slip-on shoe. We have to jam the foot in the shoe, and then there's a lot of pressure holding the shoe onto the foot. This can cause all manner of different sorts of problems, but the number one being Morton's neuroma or numbness in the toes. If we're looking for a shoe, the heel height, most people don't think of this as having much of a heel, but the heel height should be no higher than about 2.5 centimeters if we're going to be wearing it all day. The other thing we look at is the shape of the shoe, or the last shape, and that's basically the shape that the shoe is made on. And if you've got a curved foot, we usually put you in a curved lasted shoe, or a straight foot, we put you in a straight lasted shoe. So we try and match the last shape to the shoe. And finally, the other thing we look at is the quality of the midsole. So the midsole is, so you've got the orange section here is the outsole. This white section, if you can see it in the camera, is the midsole of the shoe. This should be solid yet shock absorbing. So basically what we want to make sure is it's not too hard, not too soft. We don't want it to be too hard, so when we heel strike, there's too much pressure, but we don't want it to be too soft, so it wears out too quickly. So that is the basic rundown of what we look for in a good shoe. If you run some of your existing shoes through this test, you'll see that maybe the ones that aren't supporting your feet enough or aren't cushioning your feet enough are the ones that are going to cause you foot pain. Thanks.